Alright, we're going to use some standard methods to compare a couple of quilts here. Standard methods being total fill weight and total down volume. So we've lined up the specs on these two quilts pretty closely. They're both 20 degree, they're both in a regular size. This one's just a regular, and this one has a standard width and medium length, which is, same general size. We've got 20.1 ounces total weight for the gray one and 18.3 for the orange one. The length, advertised length, is 72, 74. Advertised shoulder width, 58 and 60. Advertised foot width, 42 and 40. We got fill power of 1,000 and 950. Total fill weight is 14 ounces here and 13.7 here. So those are super well lined up, like items on the market for sure. And the standard method for assessing warmth is to take fill power, multiply it by total fill weight, and you come up with total down volume. When we do that, we got 14,000 cubic inches over here on the gray one and 13,015 here on the orange one. So that shows us a clear winner, with the gray one having 7.5% more total down volume in it than the orange one. So that's a clear winner, right? Wrong, actually. When we actually look a little bit further into it, and we actually figured out what the area of these two quilts is, we've broken it down into 3 segments and figured out the area of each segment, including the round end on the foot box, and totaled everything up. And the gray one actually is 8% larger than the orange one. When you take the total down volume and you factor in the difference in area, the way that comes out is we got the gray one with 3.25 cubic inches of down in every square inch, and the orange one at 3.27 cubic inches per square inch. So by all accounts, that is pretty much a match in terms of calculated loft. Those are very close, with the orange one actually having a slight amount more than the gray one. And of course we know that down quantity is only part of the picture in terms of warmth. We also have to look at how much loft is that amount of down allowed to expand into. And when we look at these two quilts in terms of that, we have the gray one, which has a 1-inch tall baffle and a 5-inch wide chamber. That results in about a 2¼ inch measured loft at the peak, meaning at the peak of the mid chamber. The orange one has a 2-inch tall baffle and a 5-inch wide chamber, and that results in about a 2½ inch measured loft at peak mid chamber. If you average those two, you come up with an average measured loft for the gray one at 1.63 and 2¼ on the orange one. So this all tells a completely different story than our standard method of total fill weight and total down volume over there. And the reason being that there are all these hidden differences in terms of taper and dimensions, even though we're really careful to line up all the advertised specs for these two different quilts. On the sheet they line up perfectly, but when you dig in and actually look at these things, they are very different. They don't even have the same profile. And an 8% difference in total area is quite significant. So these are the reasons why using totals just isn't really an accurate way to assess warmth. This is hardly an anomaly. Pretty much every system out there is going to have a different total area. And so when you look at the total fill weight and the total down volume, you just don't really know what that means in terms of how much area that is spread over.